Okay. Martha's here. Solace. Santos here. Johnny here. Reyes. Where's Reyes? Yeah. Torres is here. There he is. I just didn't call it. Okay. Okay. I don't know if the technical difficulties have been worked out, but we'll press on. So let me tell you what we're doing here this afternoon. David, Dart. Let me get you checked over here. David is here. D'Artagnan is here. Okay. I really just lost her. All right, let me tell you just quickly what we got going on here this afternoon, what we're doing. This is something we've been talking about for over 6 months, actually, in trying to put something together. We started out, the discussion started out was, how do we bring some additional benefit to our employees and make it maybe not somewhat unique to CNR, Expert, Mission, RV, and have some differential in the market about what we're offering our employees, okay? The discussion really first started out with drivers, with our drivers, okay? What are we going to do for our drivers, given that the driver classification in the United States, truck drivers in the United States have health problems in general, okay? Over-the-road drivers particularly, they're in the truck all the time, they're sitting all the time, they're eating fast food, they're on the go, and they're not mobile, and that leads to various health issues with that class of employee, okay? Our drivers are a little more active, but we're still in the truck all day. That creates all types of issues for individuals in that job. Then we looked at our CNR drivers, similar situation. Then we started thinking about, okay, how do we do something that covers a broader base of our employees, our administrative staff, our warehouse personnel, our park personnel, and those different positions, back and forth, looking at different options, looking at large transportation companies doing some unique kind of things for their employees, their drivers. So we kind of, at first we choked. Well, I choked when the cost came in. I did. I'm like, hey, whoa, this is a non-starter, okay? But in looking at different things and what we could do for our employees, we said, hey, this program, while it's not overly unique in the marketplace out there today, it certainly will be unique to CNR and Expert and our related companies. Okay? So went back through and hashed around. I don't think we got a discount. I know it's Bob ran and hit when we talk about pricing. This is Bob. He'll be up here in a minute, or one of his representatives will. I would just call him Muskov because I can't say his last name. Or Bob Marley. You can call him Bob Marley.
There we go.
I can't say his last name, but his first name pretty easy. So anyway, went back and forth on what could we do, what we could offer and bring to our employees that would be a benefit to them. And so what you're going to see this afternoon, what we're going to go through this afternoon, is a program that's designed really for you as an individual, okay? And it is centered around your health, okay? And healthy practices, healthy diet, those types of things, okay? You're going to be asked a lot of questions, and I apologize if any questions went out inadvertently prior to this meeting, because it is very personal, but we feel very strongly that this is something that gives us an opportunity to do something for our employees that gives you a health benefit at no cost. Okay, all right. So while we're not requiring every employee to participate, any employee that does participate fully in this program, we're covering the cost. Okay. CDL hazmat drivers are required to participate in this program. Okay. We cover the cost of this program, and the program is to benefit you as an individual, okay? Trust me, the first question I asked was, how do I get lower cost, okay? Does this reduce our medical expense? Does this reduce our premiums on our insurance? And all those answers came back, no, okay? So I got it. But we know that a healthy person, okay, a healthy employee is more productive. They're happier. Their life is better. When our health is better, our life is better. Okay, right, David? That's David. He falls off a bicycle. All right. Probably if he had I don't know. I'm not going to give. I just got to tell at least one David joke because I couldn't believe he walked in. I said, "Man, I can't believe we let you operate a commercial motor vehicle carrying 80,000 pounds up and down the interstate and fall off a bicycle." But anyway, I hope that exercise was beneficial. Anyway, sorry, apologize. I got a lot of track here. But so anyway, this is a program we put in place. I'll tell you, I think it's very unique. It's something that CNR Expert has really never done in the past. It's focused on you, okay, and a benefit for you. It's something you can take with you, whether you work for me, work for Ramona, work for somebody else. Okay, these are things that will impact your lifestyle and affect you on an individual basis. And it could not just on a short term, it could be for life. Right. So. I think that's anything else I need to share. There's going to be a lot of discussion. Bob's an expert on the program, so I'm not going to try to explain. I'll turn it over to Bob and his group, and they can tell you what's going on. Anything else, Ramona?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Where are the waters? Actually, as soon as she gets up with water, we'll bring them in. We've got a couple cases, we'll bring them in.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Somebody had those. So,
The beer got back ordered, I'm sorry.
if somebody could, well, I guess not turn off the lights, but we'll do the introduction. So, thank you, Keith and Ramona, for bringing us in here. My name is Bob Mahalla. This is my wife, Vicki, and we are the owners of Trinity Health Coaching. Between the two of us, we've got well over 30 years teaching people lifestyle change, helping them learn how to change their eating, exercise, and nutrition habits so that they can live longer, healthier lives. The reality is that, and you're going to hear a lot about this over the course of this program, not just today, but the follow-up sessions that we do. Most of the chronic diseases that people die from are the results of the daily choices that we make. The foods we're putting in our mouth or not putting in our mouth, whether we're getting up and moving around or sitting around all day, there's a lot of different things that go into it, but most of it are the daily choices that we make that over the course of weeks and months and years can lead to a variety of different health issues. And I personally got involved with this. I started in this industry about 15 years ago. I actually come out of the automotive industry. I used to be an engineering manager over in Juarez. That's what brought me down to the El Paso area back in the mid-90s. But I lost my first wife to breast cancer in 2004 when she was only 43 years old. Way, way too young for her to die. Not only did it impact me, obviously, but I also was left to raise our three kids who were 16, 13, and 10 with their own time. And the reality is we didn't care about our lifestyle. We didn't care about what we did in our 30s and into our early 40s. But that was the wake-up call for us. And the reality is her diagnosis, she was too far gone. She was already stage 3, which if you know anything about cancer, stage 4 is pretty much the kiss of death. Stage 3 is just before that kiss. So we knew the odds weren't in her favor when she was diagnosed, and it was too far along for us to be able to stop the depression. But what it did for me was it instilled in me a desire to help other people avoid going through what we went through as a family. And as hard as it was for me to lose my wife, and we've been married 19 years when she died, I was blessed. God brought me another wonderful woman to spend the rest of my life with. But my kids will never have their mom back. And even though, we've now been married for just over 10 years, my kids care for Vicki to varying degrees. If anybody's a step parent or has step parents, you kind of know what that means.
There's always one.
There's always one, and it's my middle child, but it'll never be the same again. And so our hope for you guys is that as we go through this, you'll look at what you can do to help yourselves and help those in your family. elements. And as we're going through this, our hope really is that not only do you choose to implement the things that we're talking about, but also that you'll take them home with you and you'll share them with your families and your friends, because it's hard to make change by yourself. If you're going to want to make change, if you're going to want to do any of the things that we teach you through this program, it'll be a lot easier for you if the rest of your family or whoever you live with gets on board. So that's our hope, is that you take this and really run with it, apply it in your own lives, and share it with others, because it literally can make the difference between life and death. And our goal is to help you live longer, healthier lives. One of our slogans is, we want you to die young at a very old age. So rather than spending the last 10, 20, 30 years of your life hauling around an oxygen tank or going to dialysis or any of the number of different ways people have lost their quality of life, we want you to live until you're 80 or 90 and go like that. Because that's the way we believe that we were designed to live. Live a long, healthy life and then just go when our time is up, not die over decades. So I don't know if this, Vicki has been involved with it longer. She's actually our senior health coach. She's the one that's responsible for the coaching programs that we offer. She is certified by third party as a health coach and as a behavior change specialist. We also have a couple of our team here with us. Christy is in the back. She's one of our coaches in training, and Carmen is one of our certified health coaches. Christy's been with us for about 4 months or so. And
Christy's a certified life coach, and she's decided to add health coaching to her life coaching practice, a great blend. She's also retired military, so thank you for your service, Christy. And I know she looks like she's 18, but she has, yes. She actually has a 14-year-old. She has a 14-year-old. So she is holding up pretty well.
And then Carmen is one of our senior health coaches. She's been with us now for 4 years. She's a former teacher and has learned how to use her teaching skills to teach health education, teach the lifestyle she was at Vermont on. And not to forget about Albuquerque. Up in Albuquerque, we have one of our coaches in training, April, who's been with us since, I think, the end of August, beginning of September. And she's actually a certified personal trainer, a certified fitness instructor in a variety of ways, incredibly fit, incredibly skillful at what she does. And she's learning how to add the health coaching element to the services that she can offer. So she's there on behalf of our company to support the Albuquerque people. And then as the program goes on, we'll be going up there to support the ongoing activities and the services that we're going to be offering through the program.
So I will also add that Carmen's first language is actually Spanish. She's from Mexico, just moved here 3 years ago. Her husband took her kicking and screaming out of Mexico, and she's now here teaching. She used to teach English in Mexico to high school. So any of you who prefer Spanish as your first language, your company has graciously prepaid for you all. I will tell you there is, I don't know of one other company in El Paso that has paid for as many services for their employees as your owners have. So I haven't even officially met them. All I've seen is the contract. And yes, you did get a discount. But just the same, they've purchased over $600 worth of value for each of you. They didn't pay $600, but they paid pretty close.
In addition to the cost for us to deliver the seminar, we're going to be talking about the additional services that you guys are going to have available to you to help you and us better evaluate where your health is at so that we can better coach you on how to make improvements.
So somewhere in the upwards of $500 a head, they're paying for each of you. And so I'd like you to thank them.
It is important, it's important, from a company standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. I know from the conversations that I had with Keith and Ramona when we were negotiating and coming to agreement on what we were going to do here, that I kept hearing over and over again how much they want you to know that you're like family to them. Because many of you have been here for a long, long time. And it's that family relationship that they just want to build on. and they care enough about you that that's why they brought us in. It's not just you know, to help the bottom line. Although, to your point earlier, Keith, the healthier your staff is, the fewer claims against your insurance policy that there will be, which lowers the premiums, which lowers all the other costs. So in the long run, yes, there should be a bottom line improvement to the company, but I know that that's not the reason that he expressed to me as to why he had us coming in here. And the same for Ramona. The other side.
There should also be a bottom line improvement for all of you as well, because I don't know the details of your insurance company, but almost all insurance companies give discounts to people who have good blood pressure, good BMI, that kind of thing. So we all have health insurance payments. And so if you get healthier, your payments will come down as well. Yeah, okay? All right, so
with that, I am going to turn it. We'll turn it over to Vicki to get started on the actual training. This is the first of 6 sessions that we're going to be doing. This first one is 2 hours. The rest of them will be 1 hour apiece, a couple weeks apart. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me just get it straight here, okay? You're coaches.
Yes.
You're coaching in how to live better.
How to live healthy. Yes.
Are you doctors?
No.
Are you nurses?
No.
Do you have some type of medical?
She is certified as a health coach, which means she's gone through, I mean, literally hundreds of hours.
Do you want me to address that?
Yeah.
So in fact, the next slide, let's pull up the next slide.
Health coach is the title, huh?
Health coach is the title. What do I point it at?
The projector.
Too many heads in the way. Can you come up with, I'll answer that question. I don't figure out what to put. So the next slide is actually our health disclaimer, saying that we are not doctors. We cannot treat, diagnose, or cure. Only a health practitioner can do that. We are recommending that you seek the advice of a health practitioner. In fact, the company is paying for you to have a consultation with an actual doctor of nurse practitioning. Dr. Chrissy Blanco is going to be doing telemedicine. Texas is legal to have patient-doctor relationship over the Skype. And so she will be doing that with each of you. I'm guessing they're going to have like an office set up here with a video conference where you're going to do it from. I don't know the exact details. But they are paying for a 20-minute consultation with an actual health practitioner. So we work hand in hand with her. So when your blood results come back, they go to her, and then you decide whether or not you want those blood results shared with us as a health coach. We have to be HIPAA compliant. You all know what HIPAA is. It means, we can't talk about any of your numbers. Your boss will not know any of this, nor none of your peers will know any of your numbers. Everything is kept completely private. In fact, the doctor you'll have to tell the doctor that she has permission to share your labs when they come back with us if you want them shared with us. If you don't want them shared with us, that's fine too. But if they are shared with us, then we can work as a partner with the doctor to help you improve your numbers. So how does that work? How does a practitioner, a doctor, and a health coach work together? So doctors, who's had a doctor appointment lately? How long was your appointment? How much time did you get with the doctor?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah. That may be a little shorter than average, but average is about 10 minutes. That's a good appointment. Doctors have to see 8 patients an hour to be able to make a living these days. Health coaches, lifestyle change, which is what most of the diseases we're going to talk about. You can't teach someone how to eat healthy or change their exercise or cook differently or create a menu plan in 3 minutes. So that's where health coaches come in. The doctor gives the health coach the instruction on what needs to happen. We're trained in how to help the doctor implement their direction to the patient. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does.
Water. We have water.
Water.
We'll just kind of start spreading them around. Everybody, it's important to hydrate. Okay, so like I said, we will not treat, diagnose, or cure. So if you have a question that has to do with curing something, please either talk to the doctor that your employers are paying for you to speak to, or talk to your own practitioner. Okay, let's see if I can do this.
Can I see the first slide? I was kind of.
You didn't show me how to make this work, sweetie. Robert Mahala,
Yes.
or Mikala, whatever, what you call him? Doesn't matter. Can you, Chrissy, can you do that bypass? I still don't know how to make this work. Oh, I guess I did. Here we go. Okay, so I figured it out. Just push hard and things. Okay, so back in the 1900s, these were the top causes of death.
Turn of the century.
Anybody know anyone who's died of this lately? Things have changed, right? Things have changed. So doctors are treating you for different things now. What's a common denominator that you see in these diseases? They're contagious. You caught them. For the most part, I think everything up there you caught, right? It's nothing to do with lifestyle other than maybe if you didn't use sanitary procedures. Things have changed.
Number one. So everybody thinks to the west comes back.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, next slide. All right. So before we get everyone have a ticket, a green ticket. Anyone not have a door prize ticket?
In April, everybody up in Albuquerque should get one ticket that's there.
Where are the green tickets? Okay. Keep your hand in the air till our lovely, intelligent assistants bring you a door prize ticket. All right, so we're gonna. Who's ever played the hot potato game? I'm not very good at it, obviously. Remember what it is? The person who gets stuck with the potato wins or loses? Loses, right. So you want to keep this potato moving, and here's what the deal is. Prior to seeing, prior to having your telemedicine consultation with Dr. Blanco, she has to have blood pressure and waist measurement and a health history form. The health history form has been, if not already, will be shortly emailed to you. You will print it out, fill it out, and fax it to her. We're doing the blood pressure and the waist measurement in the back of the room and passing that information on to her. So it is, I believe, required for drivers, not required for everyone else, but highly recommended. No one will know this. Your employer will not know this. None of your peers will know this. Only the two HIPAA-compliant gals in the back of the room will know your numbers. So we're going to try to get all 50 of you, or however many there are, through between now and 6 o'clock when we finish. That's why the hot potato game. So I'm going to start the hot potato with this gentleman here. What's your name? Derek? Dart. Hot potato, get to the back of the room before the timer goes off. Okay? When the timer goes off, if... Oh, come on, smile. Have fun with me here. It's his Okay. When the timer goes off, if the potato is in your hand, you lose. So you want to hustle to the back, get your blood pressure done, get back to the chair, and hand it to the person next to you. Okay? When you have the potato, get up and head to the back, get your blood pressure done, get back, and hand the potato off. Sound like fun? Yes. All right. What color Cadillac do y'all want when you win this thing? Black? All right. Next slide, please. Okay, so
Average man lived 79 years in 2000.
in 2000, the average man lived 79 years to the age of 79. Did anyone happen to remember, for an extra ticket, anyone happen to remember the life expectancy in 1900? 76, yes. We get tickets for speed and volume. So this young lady here needs a ticket. 76. 76 to 79. Things haven't changed much in 100 years. Have they? We're just dying of different things. So what are we dying of? These are the top 5 things that we're dying of. Number 1 by a long shot is cardiovascular disease.
Alzheimer's.
Yep, so we're going to cover ever so briefly all 5 of these. Everyone has a piece of paper and a pen. Does anyone need a pen? If anyone need a pen, we have a couple extras here.
The next one.
Can you get this to the back? This is for you. These are your notes for you to take home. Okay, so do you see anything here that's contagious? No. Things have changed a lot, and we're only living 4 years longer. And the other really sad thing is that those years have become less quality. Do anyone know anyone who spent the last 10 years of their life in a nursing home? My dad lived that way. He spent his whole life saving. He started at age 16 climbing telephone poles for AT&T stringing wire. And by the time he was 80 and retired, he sprinted and saved up $1 million because he was going to enjoy his retirement. $1 million for a pole climber is a lot of money to save up.
Yes.
And 3 years after retiring, he had an accident. He fell in the bathtub and spent his entire golden years spending that $1 million. Oh, he was stuck in a wheelchair, couldn't walk, couldn't hardly feed himself, certainly couldn't take himself to the bathroom, had to pay someone to wipe his behind. That is not the way I want to go. I don't care how long I live, because I know I'm going to a great place, but I want the years that I have to be quality. I don't want anyone, especially my children, wiping my bottom because I can't do it myself.
That's sad. That's sad.
So, that said, all of these things are 95% preventable.
95%?
95% preventable. Every single one of these. So pay attention because you do have control. All right. So we love hot potato. Run, come on. We love to give away tickets. So give me some feedback. What are some causes of cardiovascular disease?
Those French fries.
Too many French fries. Okay, I'll give him a ticket for that. Yeah.
Oh, ticket, yeah.
So,
Ticket.
Fast food, anything considered fast
so
food.
you guys up in Albuquerque, hopefully April, you're giving April some feedback too. Give some suggestions. April will give you tickets. What else besides French fries?
Right.
Fried foods. Well, you're kind of cheating off of him, but I'll give you
I got that. That's as far as we go with the fries.
Okay.
Smoking.
What else?
No exercise.
No, she said no exercise first. Yes, good. What else?
Smoking. Too much sugar.
Smoking, definitely. Too much sugar. Who said sugar? Sugar. Ticket for Sugar Man over here. Is this from personal experience? You know about the sugar?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's on it. Anything else? What else? Anything else?
Stress.
Stress. Yes. You guys want to
Football,
like
yeah.
that.
It's cowboy season.
All right. One more. Hereditary genetics. Yes. All right.
Genetic.
You guys are a pretty smart crowd. Let's see what we got. Let's see what the answers are. All right, genetics.
Wow, number one.
No one said cholesterol. I am shocked,
Oh.
which is actually good because cholesterol is not really a marker. Being overweight, not enough exercise, stress, bad fats, smoking, sitting, blood sugar. You guys got most all of it. You're only missing a few. All right. So we're gonna go. So please write these down because, like I said, it's preventable. The things in the left column you don't need to bother writing down. Those are not very predictive. the right-hand column things, those are the things that really make a difference.
Yeah, get it. Yeah.
So genetics, you can't.
Yeah. One thing I want to say, the question was asked earlier, are we medical professionals? The answer is no. However, everything that we teach is backed up by medical research. In other words, what we're teaching is based on studies that have been published in Journal of the American Medical Association, the Lancet from Great Britain, all those different types of major publications in the medical field. The things that we're teaching are things that have been published in there and they're gradually starting to work their way into the traditional medical community. But if you know anything about the medical community, it's slow to change. So you're going to be hearing a lot more about these things in 5 years, because many of these things will start to be mainstream in 5 years. We're just doing the stuff in advance to give you guys that advance notice so that you can get ahead of the game.
We work with practitioners that are studying the cutting edge publications. Usually takes 5 years before your local doctor knows about the newer research and the newer things. Okay, so smoking. Yes, we all know that's bad. It causes all kinds of issues. If you smoke, please take advantage of our health coaches and let us help you quit.
What do you mean by inflammation?
Let me get to that. That's 4 things from now. Just teasing. Okay. All right. So smoking. Don't smoke. Sitting too many hours. Let's talk about sitting.
Girls sit all day.
Girls, only girls. Guys,
We're all over the place. We're all over the place.
All right, so we're going to talk about that. In fact, one of the things that Bob and I will be doing, aside from just working with you guys, I'll be working with management to see what kinds of practices we can put in place in your workplace to create a culture of wellness. What does that mean, a culture of wellness?
Living well.
Yeah.
Living good. Living
And what,
healthy.
right,
Well,
what's the culture part mean? What is that culture of
Thinking
wellness?
well.
Thinking's a big
Thinking
piece
healthy,
of it. Thinking and acting. So they tell us that our health is generally the same as the health of our 5 closest friends. So think about your 5 closest friends. Are you the healthiest in the 5 or the least healthy in the 5? Okay, so some of you might need to get new friends. So a culture of wellness. So, is anyone over 60 besides me? Am I the oldest in the room?
Johnny.
I'm the oldest in the room.
No, we got one.
You got one. Okay, all
He
right.
gets a ticket just for being the
Just for being the old. Okay.
Oh, Who's the oldest?
Anybody
Are you both over 60?
Who's older than me? I'm 60. So think us 60-year-olds, think back to when we were in our 20s. Can you guys remember back that far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm gonna ask you to try to keep the side conversation to a minimum, because we're relying on the people in Albuquerque being able to hear us speak. So any other side conversations are gonna make it difficult for them to hear up there. We want them to get as much benefit out of this activity as what you guys are.
So us old guys, back when we were in our 20s, companies gave us cigarette breaks. Do you remember that?
Yes.
We don't get cigarette breaks anymore. They don't call them that. We do get breaks, but they were actually called cigarette breaks. People got 15-minute breaks every 2 hours to go out and have a smoke. Things have changed, thankfully. Okay. They are calling sitting the new smoking. Have y'all heard that?
Really?
No.
A sedentary life, sitting for more than 8 hours a day, is worse for you than smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. No. What? Wait. Google it. Check me out. Not right now. After the class. Yes. So we don't want you smoking and we don't want you sitting. So we're going to talk about that.
So we want that Ramona test.
Yes, those standing desks are amazing. Okay. Sitting is the new smoking. just published just last month in the Annals of Internal Medicine.
Wow.
8,000 people were studied for almost 6 years. They found that they sat on average 12.3 of their 16 waking hours. And they found that one group had substantially fewer premature deaths. Those who interrupted their sedentary time with movement at least once every 30 minutes. Okay? So, what time is it? How fast do I need to be? It's 4:43? Holy crap. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, so.
You get that Albuquerque?
Yeah, right. So we're past our first stretch break. So we're so tight in here, I don't know if we're going to be able to do stretch breaks. So typically when we have seminars, we have everybody get up every 30 minutes. We're not going to be able to do that. So what we're going to do is, right now, since we're past the first 30 minutes, I'm going to ask you guys to just do this in place. All right, stretch, come on, move. Let's go.
In Albuquerque,
Okay.
what we're doing is just having people reach for the sky with one arm at a time. Left arm, right arm, over and over again.
Come on,
Okay,
Cliff.
now,
You got it.
raise your leg in place. Don't kick the guy in front of you. Okay? All right, I realize this is an optional, but we're stuck with that. Okay, twist.
All right, Cliff.
Keep twisting. Right, somebody, who volunteered to set their alarm clock for 5:15? Someone say,
Adrian,
you tell me when it's 5:15, and somebody else tell me when it's 5:40. Somebody set their alarm for 5:40. We're gonna stretch again. All right, I'm gonna skip past these because we're way out of time. All right, so we talked about sitting and smoking. The last 4 markers, be sure to write these down on your paper. These are blood tests that your company is paying for you to get. These and 13 more. 17 blood tests, way more than any regular doc tests. These are advanced blood tests from cutting-edge companies. Typical doctors check for cholesterol, blood sugar, and
HDL.
yeah, and maybe
prostate.
vitamin D and triglycerides. That's about it. 17 markers. I can't tell you how amazing it is that your company is paying.
The reason that we're doing this is because the traditional tests that are done by your doctors are only looking to diagnose whether you already have a disease. Our medical system, our healthcare system is really disease management. It's trying to find out if you already have something, and then based on the results, if you do have something, what procedure or what medication to prescribe to deal with the disease that they've diagnosed you with. Our focus with these advanced tests is to take a preventive approach, to look at whether you might be on the path to disease before you actually get there. Because changing lifestyle as a preventive approach is much more effective at changing the results than if you wait until you already have a disease and then try to do something. So that's why we are pursuing these advanced tests, because we want to help you know, are you on the path to something that your doctor hasn't already found out about?
So typical doctors do check to see if you're diabetic,
Yes.
right? That is important, because if you're diabetic, they're gonna write you a prescription, yes?
Yes.
That's the filter that a doctor works through. Does he have a condition or disease that I need to write a prescription for? Or it may do a surgery, have a procedure. If it's lifestyle induced, they generally don't talk to you about it because they don't have time. They may say, well, you need to lose a few pounds, eat better, but they don't have time to tell you what better means, right?
And if I'm not mistaken, and Keith and Ramona maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that if you're a driver and you become insulin dependent as a diabetic, you're off the road. Is that correct?
If
All
you
right.
have a heart event, you're off the road. Okay, so we need to keep your blood pressure low, your heart healthy, and your blood sugar optimal, or you're going to be looking for a new career. We're hiring health coaches. Okay, so diabetic, the really good docs will look to see if you're pre-diabetic. Very few. But the truly exemplary doctors let you know when you're insulin resistant. Those doctors are maybe 1 out of 100 that actually talk to you about insulin resistant. We'll cover what that is in a moment when we get to the diabetes section. So some of you maybe know your blood sugar numbers. Anyone know what your fasting blood sugar is? You don't have to shout it out, but raise your hand if you know.
There's a paper that knows that.
There's a paper that knows. That's the common answer. My doctor said it was fine, right? My doctor said my sugar was fine, but what's the number? Fine by a doctor's standards typically means less than 125, which is way over here. Because at 125 is when they can write you a prescription because now you're diabetic. But prior to being diabetic, there's no prescription. So they just wait until your blood sugar moves up the wave until you flip over, you're labeled diabetic, and now they put you on insulin, and now you're off the road. Healthy blood sugar is actually under 80. So write that down. I want my fasting blood sugar to be 80 or less. If it's over 90, you're not diabetic, but you do have insulin resistance and you have double the risk of a heart attack. Over 90, double the risk of a heart attack. Under 80 is optimal, is goal. Okay, HDL, some wise person said that's the good cholesterol. Yes, we've got quote bad and quote good. Truly, cholesterol, both bad and good, the LDL and HDL are both critical to life. Without bad cholesterol, and I say bad in quotes because it's really not bad, we would die. We need LDL to survive. We would not live 30 seconds with no LDL in our body. Okay, so low HDL. Having low HDL, low good cholesterol, is a bigger predictor for heart disease than this one over here that everyone talks about. This is the one they put you on Cristor, Lipitor, drugs. Drug companies talk about these on TV all the time. Nobody's talking to you about raising your HDL because that can only be done with diet, lifestyle. That's what we're going to teach you. Okay, so make a note. HDL is the cleanup crew. So here's your arteries. Here's the lining of your artery wall, and this is the nasty little plaque building up, right? And so you've got the plaque collecting, and you've got the HDL, the little HDL guys, and the big dump trucks coming in to clean up the plaque. That's why this is so important. HDL is the cleanup guys. There's two kinds of HDL. The little guys with shovels, the man on the street, and the machinery. Which do you think is more effective? No, the machinery. Yes? Okay, so the little guy's got a big heart, but a little shovel. The dump trucks, they can clean up like crazy. So the test, your company is allowing us, paying, not us, but the doctor, to test, to tell you how many dump trucks you have and how many little guys with shovels.
So HDL and
HDL and HDL2. Yes, give this guy a ticket. Yeah. So HDL2 is the really critical marker. The more dump trucks you have, the better, the less risk of heart disease. Okay? No other doctor, well, I'll say no other. There's about a dozen doctors in all of El Paso that even check for this. And Dr. Blanco is one, and your boss is paying for it. Okay, inflammation. So inflammation, so we can have, if we stub my toe, if I stub my toe, it's gonna puff up and become inflamed, right? If I have, if I sprain my ankle or
if you have surgery, there's usually inflammation in the area of the surgery.
So inflammation is a part of the healing process, right? But chronic inflammation, the word chronic should actually be ahead of it here. Put chronic inflammation on your paper. Who knows what chronic means?
Constant.
Constant, yes. This guy is going to take it away. So, yes, you want another one. Gimme. So chronic inflammation means constant. If I stub my toe, the inflammation's going to be gone tomorrow for the next day. It heals and then it's gone. low-grade, constant systemic inflammation throughout the body, which is caused by constant onslaughts of things, and we'll talk about what those things are, is a huge risk factor for not just heart disease, but almost everything. So
yeah, inflammation is good if it goes away.
inflammation is good if it goes away, yes. And how do you know how much you have? So I don't care about my stubbed toe. I want to know if my arteries are inflamed. I want to know if my tissues, if my cells are inflamed. I want to know if my brain is inflamed. These things are not supposed to be inflamed, right? My heart's not supposed to be inflamed. So remember I said there are 17 tests? These are 3 of them. 3 of them will be to test your level of inflammation. So you know where you're at. So you know whether you need to tackle it.
It was,
CRP, just put CRP, PLA2, and insulin. Okay, small dense particle size. Anybody ever heard of that? It's really cutting edge. Like I said, there's probably only less than 20 docs in El Paso that know about it. But your cholesterol particle size is what's important. Remember we talked about how we got the dump trucks and the little guys with shovels?
Yes.
The dump trucks are bigger. You want big particles are better. Big LDL particles are better. Let's talk about what that means.
well, turbulent.
Like what? Okay, so we got patient A and patient B. They both have 100 LDL, 100 milligrams per deciliter of LDL. So let's say you're patient A and you're patient B. You both come back with 100 LDL. By conventional standards, we say you're both at equal risk for heart disease. You both have 100 LDL, right? However, that's not the case because cholesterol does not travel around in our veins all by itself. Cholesterol particles have to be packaged into what's called a lipoprotein. Think of it as cars on the highway. So there's no hitchhiking on I-10, right? There's a person on I-10, they're going to get kicked out. The cops are going to pick them up. No hitchhiking. You got to be in a car to travel on I-10. Cholesterol particles have to be in a lipoprotein to travel in our body. They have to be housed in a car, a vehicle, if you will. So patient A has 5 vehicles on his highway. Patient B has 10. They both have 100 milligrams, but this guy has 20 milligrams of LDL in each vehicle, and this guy has 10 in each vehicle. So even though their cholesterol number is the same, their particle number is different. This guy has twice as many particles as this guy. So it's not your cholesterol level that predicts heart disease, it's how many particles you have.
What size they are.
And what size they are, yes.
So kind of think of it as the difference between beach balls and golf balls. The big LDL, the large LDL cholesterol particles are like beach balls. What happens when a beach ball gets out into the water? Does it sink or float? It floats, right? Okay, and it kind of floats away. The same thing happens with the big fluffy beach ball LDL cholesterol particles in our blood. They either float away in the blood or they get cleared away and float away in the lymphatic system. The little ones are like golf balls. Anybody in here play golf? Nobody? Okay. Well, anybody ever see somebody hit a golf ball into the water? What's it going to do? Float or sink? It sinks. Believe me, there's a lot of golf balls in the ponds around El Paso that I've hit in there. So golf balls sink. The LDL particles also are small and dense, so they tend to sink and accumulate in the areas around our arteries rather than floating away.
So they cause the clots.
Yes.
Yes, that's what causes the golf balls. The small, dense particles are the ones that are dangerous. The big, fluffy ones are actually beneficial. That's what gets converted to vitamin D when we expose our skin to the sun. So it's really, we want the big, fluffy ones. They're beneficial in a lot of ways. We just don't want the small ones like Vicki was talking about.
So it makes no difference if your doctor's told you your cholesterol is fine. It may not be fine. So this guy is fine, but this guy is not. And they both have the same number. So your boss is paying to find out how many golf balls and how many beach balls you have in your body.
Well, how do you make it into the 5?
How do you shrink it? You attend our classes and let us teach you. So over the next 2 weeks, or excuse me, every other week for the next 10 weeks, we're going to do 1 hour, not 2 hours, so we won't obtrude in your life too much. Over the next 10 weeks, every other week, for an hour, we're going to go over all these different things to actually teach you how to fix these. And by the time we next meet, it'll be a month from now. By the time we next meet, you'll have your labs back. So you'll know which things you need to work on. And we will help you fix this. Yeah. Okay, cancer, the number 2 cause of death. Bob shared that his first wife died of breast cancer. I didn't know them then, but I have heard, he shared with me how horrible it was for him, for his kids. I don't know personally anyone who's ever died of cancer, but from what I've gathered, it's pretty sad for not just the patient, but the family members too. Those images of Bob shared with me cleaning the wounds as the lymphatic system, the pus is just coming through her skin. You have to change her bandages every 6 hours because she just gets covered with the stuff. Those are the ways that their kids have to remember mom. It's not the way you want to go. And until I became a health coach, I used to think that people who got cancer were just unlucky. There's no way you know. It's just the luck of the draw. You maybe get it, maybe you don't. But it's 95% lifestyle. Did you guys hear what I said? Cancer is not luck. It's 95% lifestyle. You can reduce your risk. So I'm going to go really quick through, because it's the number 2 cause of death. 1 in 3 men and 50% of women will get cancer. Where's the other way around? I think that's right. What are those odds? So guys, look at the guy next to you on either side and which of you is going to get it. And okay, so let's not have it be anyone in this room.
Lifestyle change.
Lifestyle change. So for tickets, let's have some audience participation here. April, give out tickets to anyone who has a reasonable suggestion. What are some causes of cancer? Hereditary, genetic, yes. Smoking, absolutely. What's that?
Tobacco.
Oh, yeah. Chewing tobacco. Yeah, definitely, yeah. What else? Pesticides in our food. Pesticides in our food, yes, for sure.
Too much sun.
Too much sun, skin cancer. You guys are on it. One more. One more. Okay, no more. Okay, so let's talk about it. All right, so anybody heard of the term free radical damage? Free radicals?
Free radicals. Yes.
Free radicals cause oxidative damage. We'll go into the science behind what a free radical is later. Basically, it's a molecule whose electrons have become unpaired and are out of balance and kind of bounce it all around crazy inside your body. You don't really need to know the biochemistry of it. What causes them? Stress, too much sunshine, pollution, toxins, chemicals, lack of sleep, so many things cause oxidative damage. Breathing oxygen causes oxidative damage. You know anyone who's a runner, a marathon runner, a spin class, goes to spin class, and an aggressive athlete, they're breathing pretty hard. They have a lot of oxidative damage because they have to breathe so much. So, how do you fix it? It's a part of the body. Obviously, breathing was intended, right? That we're supposed to breathe.
Yeah.
You were going to have to. So the body's designed to handle oxidative damage if everything's kept in balance. We'll talk about that. So animal protein, that's why vegetarians say they live longer, although they don't. I'll tell you, vegetarians actually do not, the studies show, they do not live any longer. So meat eaters?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. In fact, vegetarians get brain diseases at double the rate of meat eaters. But we meat eaters get cancer at a higher rate. just dive different things. Genetics, inflammation, high blood sugar, smoking, and being overweight. So let's run through these real quick and see which ones are the important ones for you to write down on your paper. All right, so oxidative damage, there's about 20 different things that cause oxidative damage. We will go into that at another session. But I'll tell you that antioxidants combat oxidative damage. So when guacamole turns brown, that's oxidative damage. The oxygen touches the top of the guacamole, that browning. When an apple turns brown, when a banana turns brown, when a bike left out in the rain rusts, all of this is oxidative damage. If I sprinkle lime juice on top of my guacamole, is it going to turn brown more slowly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I put lemon juice in my apple fruit salad, it's going to turn brown more slowly. What's in lemons and limes that's an antioxidant?
That's it.
Citrus, citric acid, vitamin C. Yes. So vitamin C is an antioxidant. Vitamin E, there's all kinds of antioxidants. So eating lots of fruits and vegetables provides antioxidants to combat the oxidative damage. But we'll talk about that more in another session. Here we go. Animal protein. Okay, so like I said, we don't need to become vegetarians, but we do need to watch how much meat we eat. Because if we eat too much animal protein, it causes mTOR and IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. Basically, it causes abnormal growth, which predisposes us to cancer. So large portions of animal protein. These bodybuilders that pound down these whey protein shakes, 50 grams of protein after my workout. The 32-ounce T-bone at their cattlemen's. All of these are too much protein in one sitting. So animal protein is great, but you've got to be sure it's in moderation. So not too much in one sitting. Someone already talked about genetics, but I'll tell you that for the most part, genetics, genes can be turned on and turned off. Did you know that? It's called epigenetics. We are not, what genes we have is not a dealt hand. We can get new cards. We can turn off some of the cards. So even if you have a gene that predisposes you to cancer, it's a bit, remember I said it was 95% lifestyle? The 5% extra is genetics. But for the most part, you can control what your genes do, whether they're turned on or turned off. Blood sugar above 90. Here we are hearing that again, right? We talked about that before. 90, 95 is normal. 100, the doctor will say it's fine. Pardon?
97.
97, your doctor probably told you that was fine, but that's...
No, I don't know a doctor.
You don't know a doctor?
Been a doctor.
Okay, good. So you're testing your own sugar, not seeing a doctor. Good. We want to get that down to 80. We will teach you how. I guarantee you. I have insulin-dependent diabetics injecting insulin who are now off their insulin.
Is that at fasting or?
Fasting.
Fasting.
In the morning after no food all night. Yep. Okay. Why? What does sugar have to do with cancer? A PET, you want to talk about a PET scan?
So a PET scan is a pretty common test that is used now. Back when my wife was dealing with cancer 15 years ago, it was brand new. But a PET scan, what they basically do is inject a solution, a glucose solution. So it's got sugar in the solution that also has a little bit of radioactivity to it, so they can track where that solution is going in the body. And what happens is the cancer cells feed on sugar. So they know where the tumors are in your body, the cancer tumors are, because the cancer tumors are where all that glucose solution goes when they put it into you. So they're able to see whether there's tumors and where those tumors are. Because the cancer cells have a much greater ability to take up sugar than regular cells do. The regular cells, every cell has what's called an insulin receptors on the surface to allow the insulin to get the sugar out of the blood and deposit it into the cells. Normal healthy cells have 4 insulin receptors on them. Cancer cells have like 90. So they have way more capability of taking up sugar, and they feed on that sugar. So one of the big reasons that we want you to keep your blood sugar low is so that it reduces the risk that cancer could potentially grow inside of you without you knowing about it.
These little red spots that you see on the PET scan are the cancer cells sucking up the red radioactive dye. Okay, so your A1C, your hemoglobin A1C, tells us the average blood sugar that you've had in your body over the last 3 months. Fasting blood sugar is what it was that morning when you had your blood drawn, but A1C tells us the average. The picture tells us the whole story over the last 3 months. So you want to have relatively low sugar in your body so you don't feed cancer. So the hemoglobin A1C, again, is also a test, HbA1c, that the boss is paying for. All right, inflammation. We already talked about inflammation. You're going to get those inflammatory tests. So inflammation causes heart disease, stroke, and cancer. So we don't want any. You're going to find out how much you have. No, hardly any other doctors in town test for this. Only the really advanced docs. Smoking, we already talked about smoking. Obviously, smoking causes lung cancer. Chewing tobacco causes mouth cancer, tongue cancer, throat cancer. If you smoke, please set a date to quit. You don't have to quit today, but pick a date. Set a date. Think of when it is and let's work towards that. Okay, so the last thing, being overweight. Shocker. Being overweight dramatically increases your risk of cancer. And I don't just mean obese. I mean just overweight. Just being overweight.
Well, what's considered overweight?
Yes, so that's a really good question. By looking at Vogue magazine, I'm obese, right? But I'm technically healthy weight. Now, granted, I'm at the top end of healthy because I used to be very overweight. I used to be insulin resistant and about 40 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I'm only 5'4", so 40 pounds is a lot on someone who's 5'4". So, really good question. What is overweight? We'll give this lady a ticket. Another thing, we're going to talk about this at the end, but another thing that the boss is paying for is a DEXA scan. DEXA, D-E-X-A, dual energy X-ray absorption or something. You're going to lay on this machine, kind of like you're going to lay on a giant copy machine, and this machine is going to copy your body, going to scan your body head to toe. Going to do a bone density test.
Oh, okay.
When I was 35, hot potato, who's got the hot potato? Who's got the hot potato?
Who's fired?
All right, somebody take half that man's tickets.
Why do you think that one?
Whoa, okay. If he's only got one, do we let him keep it?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to set it again. Here we go. Fork over one. All right, I reset it, so keep that potato going. Okay, so the DEXA scan will give you bone density. When I was 35, I was starting my health coach certification. And as a part of my training, they made us all get bone density tests. I found out at 35 I had osteopenia, which is pre-osteoporosis. 35!
Who knows what osteoporosis is?
Okay, maybe we can back up and talk about what it is.
What is osteoporosis?
Beginning of the bones.
Density of the bones.
Brittle bones.
Brittle
Brittle
bones.
bones, yeah.
Density of the bones.
No. It's just that my parents had it.
Right. It's brittle bones.
So at 35, that is young. It's typically old people that have osteoporosis. But thankfully, I found out at 35, and now at age 60, my bones are stronger now than they were when I was 35 because I took proactive steps. There is no drug to fix, despite the TV commercials. Those drugs do not really help. They actually, if you're on them more than 2 years, make your bones even more brittle.
In fact, a friend of ours, his wife, had been on the osteoporosis medication for 5 years. You're not supposed to be on it for more than a couple. She was on it for 5 years. She had a fall. And she shattered her hip so bad.
Like glass.
Like, I mean, just not just like breaks, but it like shattered into a whole bunch of pieces. And it took a long, long time for her to recover from all the surgeries they had to do because of that. So The drugs don't cure that.
They just slow.
They just slow down the progression, and it can even lead to problems if the doctors don't take you off of it because they're not paying attention.
So thankfully at 35, I was still young enough to be able to fix it. The younger you are when you find out that you have an issue, the better you can to fix it. At age 25 or 30 is when we're at peak bone mass, and then it starts to go down. So those of you who are older, it's time to get it checked. But those of you who are younger, you might be like me. You might find out. So the scanner will tell you it's a bone density. It will also tell you your body fat percentage. It will tell you visceral versus subcutaneous. Those are the two kinds of fat. Visceral fat is the fat inside your core. The fat attached to your organs, literally glued to your heart, your kidneys, your liver.
Fatty liver.
Yeah, literally attached inside your liver, inside your organs. That is the killer fat. This machine detects both this stuff on the outside and the stuff on the inside.
And the reality is, so being overweight is considered one of the things that can lead to cancer, but it really comes down to fat. It's not a matter of weight. It's a matter of being over fat is really the issue. Because you can have two people who are the same height and the same weight. One can be very muscular and lean, very low body fat. The other person can be low muscle and high fat, and they can weigh the same. BMI, which is a standard measure that they use, is shown to be the same for both. So it's really the body fat that's the most important.
Which is why
So that's how the
step
scanner's gonna tell
The
us.
scan is going to tell you arm by arm, leg by leg, torso, everywhere in your body, what your fat and what your muscle is.
It'll tell you what your upper body is, lower body, left leg, right leg. It'll tell you how much muscle you have. Okay, so interesting tidbit about cancer. I'm just going to read this to go more quickly.
It gets our stretching.
Oh, that's the stretching. All right. Excellent. So I'm going to ask you to quietly, everybody quiet, do your arms and your legs while I read this.
Stretch break, April, up in Albuquerque. Just have them get up and do a little bit of movement.
But quietly while I read this. In October of last year, the CDC, guys, I need you to not, because we're way behind schedule, so no talking, just move. In October of last year, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, issued a report on cancer. Now do your legs quietly. They said, the director said, we have made great strides in overall cancer since the 1900s. As a nation, we're now better at preventing and treating some cancers. The incidence of cancer not associated with overweight or obesity is down by 13%. Notice that the red is my annotation. The incidence of cancers not associated with overweight or obesity is down by 13%. Okay, what about the others? So, but some types of cancers, we are going in the wrong direction. Research shows that being overweight is associated with many types of cancers. The rates of most of the cancers associated with obesity or overweight has increased by 7%. We've noticed these cancers are increasing, particularly among people between the ages of 50 and 74. Raise your hand if that's you. Raise up your hand if that's almost you. Okay, are you looking at 50? So cancer is on the increase. The cancers that have to do with overweight and obesity are on the increase. So let's not be overweight or obese, because it predisposes us to cancer and heart disease. Let us help you. We have if you need to lose 2 pounds or 200 pounds, somebody here needs to lose that. But we've had clients on both ends. We have lots of experience doing it, and it's not by eating celery and cottage cheese. It's by eating amazing, delicious food. We had our 10-year anniversary of our business in El Paso last weekend before that. We had a whole open house thing, a bunch of people. We fed them lunch. They're just raving about the food. And it was all, yes. If you guys are nice, we'll bring you some food. Okay.
We are hungry.
So imagine 10 huge commercial airliners crashing every single day. That's how many people die of cancer. 1 in 3, like I said, versus 1 in 2. All right, let's talk about the number 3 cause of death, lower respiratory diseases. What does that mean, lower respiratory diseases? So, yeah, lungs, exactly. So, okay. COPD is the main thing, but also things having to do with smoking. It's mainly smoking and sedentary lifestyles, extremely sedentary, like bedridden kind of people. This is what finally got my dad. Remember I said he spent the last 10 years in a wheelchair? So for him, this was a blessing. He would have loved to have passed earlier. He often said it. I just wish it was. Eventually, this is what took. So the main way to stop this is don't smoke. There's also a couple other things. Don't be around secondhand smoke. So if you know people that are smoking, stay out of the casinos, yes. Avoid air pollution. All right. So we're not going to talk a lot about this particular cause of death over the next 5 weeks. But if smoking or secondhand smoke is an issue for you, we will personally talk with you about it. All right, the 4th cause of death. Right. 4th cause of death, Alzheimer's. Who knew, right? Did you guys realize Alzheimer's is the number 4 cause of death?
Yes.
I didn't know. Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Deep at Harry Potter. It goes too fast on me. All right. So, who wants to live to be 80, not in a wheelchair with vibrant health?
The rest of you guys, what's going on?
We'll talk later. Okay. All right. So that's most of you. Next slide. Okay. So 50% of 80-year-olds will have Alzheimer's. So assuming you live to be 80, either you or your spouse is going to have it.
Right.
So you're either going to have Alzheimer's or you're going to be taking care of someone who doesn't remember who you are.
Yes.
Either way, that sucks, right? Yes, sir. Would you have a question?
It's true. It's true about that.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And it's increasing. So,
About 2 years ago, the Alzheimer's Association actually came out in writing and identified Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. What does that mean?
What?
What do you think that means, type 3 diabetes? It's caused from high blood sugar. Long-term elevated blood sugar. We've already talked about how that leads to diabetes, right? And it can contribute to heart disease. But now they're even finding it can contribute to Alzheimer's. So all the more reason why you've got to keep your blood sugar under control. Elevated blood sugar and the inflammation that causes is one of the foundational things that we want to help you with because it leads to so many different diseases.
So if it's preventable and you're married and you don't want to be taking care of someone who doesn't remember who you are, the two of you need to work together to get the sugar out of your diet. So let's find out what your A1C is.
A1C.
Your A1C, all right? Get the free blood tests. Well, they're not free, but they're free to you. All right. So again, over 90, if your fasting sugar is over 90, your risk for Alzheimer's is dramatically increased. The doctor will tell you 90 is 2 thumbs up because they're used to seeing diabetic patients all day long with blood sugar of 150. 90 is not good. You want fasting 80 or less. So let's find out what yours is. All right, the final cause of death is diabetes.
So there's diabetes 1, 2, and now 3.
Yes.
Diabetes 1 is what they used to refer to as juvenile diabetes. Basically, it's where you're born with an inability to make insulin, or as you start to grow, your body stops being able to make insulin. It's not a lifestyle-driven disease.
Yeah. We can't really help you with number 1.
We can help you better manage it and become less dependent on insulin, so you don't have to take as much. but you can't be cured of type 1 with lifestyle change.
Now, we have, because we're talking about who's married or with a significant other. Okay, none of you, you're all single? I'd say wish you were. Okay, we have negotiated some good group pricing for this group. If you have a spouse who you want to get these tests, talk to us. Obviously, your employer's not going to pay for it, but we will let them piggyback off the discounted price.
You can breathe again.
Okay, because if your spouse is healthy, it makes your life healthier too. All right. Okay, so 8 out of 10 of us have either diabetes, pre-diabetes, or insulin resistance. It's a continuum. It starts with healthy, then you get insulin resistant, then pre-diabetic, then diabetic. 80% of us. So that means about 5 of you in this room are healthy. Which one of you is it? All right, just that one. The young one.
Yeah, this young one right here.
Okay, I'm going to really quickly take you through the whole idea of sugar in the blood and how you try to get it out and how it all works. Yep, this is just an overview. We're going to go into it in a lot more detail in a future session. But the bottom line is, when we eat something that converts to sugar in our blood, the body has to get sugar out of the blood, because sugar in the blood is what leads to a lot of different health issues, like blindness, like loss of circulation, which leads to amputations, kidney failure, and a whole bunch of other things. So the sugar's got to get out of the blood. The body wants to store it in the muscle cells to be used for energy. When the body senses an elevation in sugar, the body makes insulin, the hormone insulin. Insulin attaches to the sugar and transports it to the muscle cells to be used for energy. That's the way it's supposed to work.
The blue guy is an insulin.
Right, the blue guy is insulin and is helping to transport the sugar into the muscle cells to be used for energy. However, if over time our sugar keeps being elevated because of our diet, then we become less able to use it, and sometimes there's not enough room in the muscles to take up all that sugar. Then it gets stored in the fat cells, because it has to get out of the blood. Sugar has to get out of the blood, so if it can't be put into the muscle cells, it'll get stored in the fat cells. And there's an infinite capacity to store sugar in the fat cells. The fat cells will expand, the body will make more fat cells, so it'll end up just building and building into the fat cells. Over time, if we keep with that unhealthy lifestyle, eating a lot of things that convert to sugar, the body has to use more insulin to get the job done. So it takes more insulin to get the sugar out of the blood, and there's residual sugar in the blood. Now you're starting to become insulin resistant because it takes more insulin to do the same job.
That's it.
Okay.
So one
And then
of
if it progresses from there, that's what leads to prediabetes and diabetes.
So one of the blood tests that you'll be getting is your insulin level, your fasting insulin. If your fasting insulin is elevated, you're insulin resistant. So don't just wait to find out you're pre-diabetic. Find out early so we can fix it. All right. So I'm going to come back to this. Okay, so this is, remember the copy machine, the giant human copy machine?
That's it. Right there.
This is it. So you keep your clothes on. Yes, right. You keep your clothes on. It's super fast. It takes like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, very quick. You do want to go fat up. Hot potato. Who's got the potato? All right, now give up your tickets, buddy. He's over here. What? Somebody left the potato. He's right here. He's sitting right here.
No, the guy that
Yeah, literally
Bathroom break.
said, here, take the potato to someone who already passed. So, all right, let's get that potato back in circulation here. Come on. All right, so the DEXA scan. It's over on the east side near Pelicano. It takes about 5 minutes. Typically, it's $70. Your boss is paying for it. You'll get a bone density, body fat, everything.
And in addition to that, you're also going to get another test, which is going to measure your resting metabolic rate. In other words, what's the minimum amount of calories that you need to consume on a daily basis at rest just to survive?
Most of, about 50% of our weight loss clients, Carmen, would you say 50% aren't eating enough when they come to us?
Probably.
About half of the people who come to us for weight loss, we have to tell them, eat more.
But eat more of the right things.
Yeah, not candy bars, but do eat more. Eat more, amazing food. Yeah, so and then healthy greens. We'll teach you how to make healthy greens. Wouldn't it be great news to find out if you ate more, you could start losing weight? So that's another machine that they have there. You breathe in this tube and it tells us your resting metabolic.
For the guys, keep it down for a second. For the people up in Albuquerque, you're going to have basically a choice. If we don't have access to this kind of a machine in Albuquerque, if you can drive down to El Paso, you can get the same test down here that everybody down here is getting. If not, if you're not able to come down here, on one of our trips up to Albuquerque, we'll bring some other equipment up there to be able to measure your body composition. We won't be able to get bone density, but we can still do the resting metabolic rate. We'll be able to provide most of the other numbers, just not the bone density.
All right, can we turn the lights on?
The facility that takes the bone density, are they open on Saturday?
Yes.
Yes, and we'll give you information on how to go online to schedule your appointment.
Yeah, in a few slides we'll show you how to do that. Oh, so you can't really read this, but it's on your paper. So flip your paper over. Okay, so top of, I think this is the top of your paper, right? Yes. Okay, so where's the potato at? Oh, where are we at with the potato? All right, we need to pick up the pace on the potato. Okay. All right, so as I said, well, first, any questions on what we've talked about so far? Are you on overload? Are you excited?
Yes. Yes, I like it. Are all the services gonna be like in one location or?
The services, meaning the coaching?
Yeah, like all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do it here,
Just here.
assuming they let us.
Yeah, well, actually, I can talk about that because they can send a phlebotomist here to draw the blood. If we can work out a place where they can work out to do that so that people can have it done here instead of having to go somewhere else. We can come here for the coaching sessions. You'll have to go to the other location for the DEXA scan, the big machine, because that's not portable. Yeah, and then the seminar room here. So most everything will be being done here.
Our office is on the west side. If you prefer to come to our office, you can, but we're going to try to plug all of it together so it's convenient for you here. Okay, so we won't be back for a month, and the reason for that is we want to give time for you to get your blood drawn and get the results back.
And get the DEXA scan and get those results back too.
Yes. So actually, let's skip to the very bottom of the paper for now. We'll come back up. So bottom of the paper bottom of the paper are the 6 things that you want to get done to take advantage of all of this. So the first is someone is.
So Albuquerque, you want to go to the bottom of the back page. So the first one is all of you should by now, has everybody been emailed the
No.
Okay.
No.
Irma is going to be emailing people.
She can
give a hard
Okay,
copy.
she can be giving out hard copies here, and I guess you emailed it up to Albuquerque, is that correct? Will be?
Yes.
Will be, or have?
Well, I emailed it to Armando, and Armando's using his computer.
Oh, okay. So the bottom line is, the form that's being handed out now is what's known as the patient intake form for Dr. Blanco, the information she needs from you before you can do your Skype or FaceTime consultation with her. Just like any other doctor you go to, they have the forms you got to fill out in advance. Now, there's no insurance information on here. This is all being paid for cash.
By your boss.
By your boss. But in order for her to write the lab orders to be able to get the blood drawn, so we can get all these markers that we're talking about, you need to fax in this form to the doctor. Okay, and the fax number is at the bottom of the last page, right by where you're going to sign. So the sooner you get this in, and you've been being scheduled for your consultations with her, you've got to have this into her before she can see you for the virtual consultation.
So fax is the only way to communicate?
If you if you want to scan it and email it, you can do that. We can give you the email address. We just didn't want to assume that everybody would be able to scan.
Okay, well, the confidentiality of the results, you know, we have like 4 fax machines, and I'll be happy to teach them how to fax it, and they can fax it themselves.
Okay. Okay. So that's the first item on there is to fill out that form and get it faxed in so you can get your blood drawn. The second one is to go to the website there, xrimagingep.com, and make an appointment for your DEXA body scan. So let me just pull up real quick. So if you can hit the lights real quick. So if you go to EP or xrimagingep.com, this is their homepage. Okay. Then in the lower right-hand corner, you're going to see the blue box that says Services. If you click on Services, it's going to bring up the thing that says Book Now. So then click on Book Now, and it will take you to a list of different options to click on. And if you scroll down to the bottom and look for the CNR logo, you're going to click on where it says for a fee. And the reason for that is you're not going to pay online. You're not going to pay. Normally, if they're just getting regular clients, the people have to pay to make the appointment. Because of what we're doing with you guys, you can just book the appointment without having to put any payment information in. So you go on there and you pick the day and the time that you want to go in for the scan. Okay? And allow about 30 minutes for both the resting metabolic rate test and the DEXA scan for the two of those. So he'll show you what the different times are that you can have your appointment made. They are open on Saturdays, yes.
Carmen?
And in the evenings for a little while in the evenings.
So we have at least one person who's not great with English. Carmen, do you want to tell the Spanish only people how we're going to take care of them?
Muy buenas tardes a todos. En especial me estoy dirigiendo a las personas que no entiendan inglés. Ya sé de 2 personas que necesitarían ayuda. Una para saber qué fue lo que se dijo aquí y otra para saber cómo llenar esas hojas. Con muchísimo gusto me ofrezco para ayudarlos a llenarlas. Lo que sí les pediría es también que si al final se acercan conmigo, tomo sus nombres, su correo electrónico para poder yo enviar y su teléfono para poder yo enviarles esta información de lo que se dio, pero en español. Y también ayudarlos a llenarlo, ya sea incluso por teléfono, tener ese momento para con ustedes que lo vayan llenando. Es una oportunidad muy, muy, muy buena y no por no haber entendido, no saberlo llenar en inglés, no se lo vayan a perder, por favor. Entonces, yo sé ya, el señor Ramón y el señor que está atrás, ¿alguna otra persona que no sepa inglés? ¿Nada más son 2? Muy bien, pues entonces si se acercan conmigo al final para podernos de acuerdo y ayudarnos a llenarlo. ¿Sí?
Okay, well, if you have any Spanish speaking up there in Albuquerque.
You're speaking to the computer.
Oh, I thought it was on
No,
phone.
no.
April, have the Spanish speaking people call Carmen.
Okay, the third item is to make an appointment for a 20-minute telemedicine consultation with Dr. Blanco. That's what we've been doing in the back, I believe. Is that correct, Carmen? As they've been getting their blood pressure and their waist measurement done, they're also making their appointment with Dr. Blanco.
No.
Okay, so that's something we're gonna have to work with you guys on. We'll figure out how to make it as expeditious as possible, but that'll be the next step, is to schedule a 20-minute virtual consultation.
So she's starting tomorrow. So especially the drivers, you guys are the priority. You say you're more important, but that's coming up, right? Priority, that's good. So anyone who's able to go see but do the phone consult with Dr. Blanco tomorrow, please don't leave here until we get you scheduled. Probably I should just say anyone, because she's got her whole day, half her day blocked out. She's got her afternoon blocked out tomorrow, and we don't want her to be sitting there twiddling her thumbs, because then we got to pay her for doing nothing. So we need to fill the calendar. So if you can do the phone consult from here tomorrow afternoon, please don't leave until we can get that booked.
All right, the next one is to text a picture of your photo ID to Dr. Blanco at the number on the form. Because we're, what's that? Driver's license is fine, whatever photo ID you have. The reason for that is because you're not seeing her in person, you're sending paperwork into her. She needs to confirm that the person on the other end of the virtual consultation is who they say they are. Okay, so she has to receive a copy, a picture of your photo ID along with that form before she can do the virtual consultation. So she's willing to take it by text rather than having to have that copied and scanned in email or any of that other stuff. The next one is to make an appointment for your fasting blood draw. We will work with Irma. I'm assuming it's you that we're working with on this, I'm not sure, but we will make the schedule and we'll let everybody know what days there will be a phlebotomist here that you can come in the morning, before you've had anything to eat, and no coffee, to get your blood drawn. And I know the coffee part's going to be hard, but you're going to have to deal with it. Okay? So that one, we'll schedule several different days where you can come and have the blood drawn here so that you don't have to go somewhere else to get it done. And then the last one will be, and we'll work with you guys on this, this doesn't have to be done immediately, will be to make an appointment for a 1-hour consultation with us for the personal health coaching time. And we'll do that after you've got your blood results back and the DEXA results back. We'll go over all those tests in a general sense with the big group, explaining what all the numbers mean, but we won't go and ask you for individual numbers during the big group because that's private. So we'll have that at a later time. So those are the 6 things that we're going to be doing in addition to the seminars that we're going to be having over the course of the next 10 weeks or so.
Okay, so okay, so as we're waiting for the last few people to get their blood pressure, raise your hand if you've not yet been to the back of the room. All right. Why don't you see if there's anything you can do to help back there, and then also start making appointments for tomorrow. Okay. So if you've not yet had your blood pressure done, when you go back, make your appointment for the doctor consult while you're back there. As long as you're there, let's get that done. The rest of you, we didn't get that done. We're going to need to talk to you. All right, while we finish up, we still have 20 minutes. What time?
Yep, 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay. So, in the next 10 minutes, I have bonus tickets. Who likes winning things? None of you? Only 2 of you like winning things? Give it to these guys. Yeah. All right. So, you'll notice in the middle of the page, there's a section called My Chosen Action Steps for the next 4 weeks. You don't have to choose any if you don't want to. It's completely optional. But these are things that we're suggesting that you pick some baby steps. So pick a few things that you're willing to do over the next 4 weeks till we meet again. We won't meet again for a month. I don't want a month to go by and have you guys not make improvements. So baby steps generally are more permanent. So read through the list of things in the My Chosen Action Steps. You're not committing for life, you're committing for 4 weeks. Pick a few things. You define few. Is it 1 or 6? Oh, pedometer. It's a little thing that clips on your belt or your bra. Well, not your bra.
It tracks your steps.
Right, it tracks your steps. And you
have it on your phone.
Phones have it too.
We have it on the phone?
Yeah, your phone.
Right here? We have it on this?
Almost every phone does, so if you wear your phone on your hip or keep it in your pocket, then it'll count your steps.
And the phone,
How many steps is good a day? How many? 15,000?
Good, yeah, so her question is, how many steps a day is a good goal? So 10,000 steps a day would be a great goal, but if you want to try to just get to 5,000 or 6,000.
I can eat more salmon.
Great, check it.
I can do more salmon.
So yeah, whatever that number, 10,000 would be a primo goal, but you could start with baby steps if you want.
And the meter.
What other questions do you have?
Ahí los ves.
So April, help your team there pick some. Anybody who gets that section finished by a quarter till gets 5 extra tickets. You have to check at least 3 things.
Done.
5 extra tickets, raise your hand.
Actually gonna make a concerted effort.
Almond milk? Almond milk, I heard of that. Almond milk. You're gonna make my coffee taste different?
Yes.
It will. Yes, so his question was almond milk, will it make my coffee taste different?
Soy the same?
Yeah. Is there anyone who loves their coffee
I love
besides me?
love my coffee.
Use heavy whipping cream.
It's not here.
Heavy whipping cream instead of coffee, instead of milk.
What happened now?
Heavy whipping, well, half and half is half milk, half heavy whipping cream. So half and half is halfway there. Heavy whipping cream tastes amazing. Okay, so yes, you can put almond milk in your coffee, but it'll suck. Okay, heavy whipping cream will be amazing. Who's got at least 3 or more?
We got 5.
Okay, guys, can I get you to drop the crosstalk? Before he gets your tickets, he has to share. What are the things you're going to change?
Drink half my body weight in ounce of water, reduce weekly alcohol consumption.
Yeah,
right.
You drink.
Right.
Replace regular cow's milk.
And what was the other one?
Replace regular cow's milk.
Replace cow's milk, cut back on the booze, and drink more water. All right, good job. Perfect. Who else wants to share? Yes, sir.
I'm gonna get that meter thing on,
Okay.
and then I'm going to eat more salmon, and then I'm gonna drink almond milk.
Excellent. Okay. Who else wants to share? Okay, gentleman in the Baylor t-shirt.
Want to wear the pedometer?
Quiet guys, let's hear.
Eat more salmon. Reduce the portion size of what I eat. And then eat more vegetables. And then stop eating like fast foods and all that.
Stop eating it. Fast food?
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't even ask for that. That's a huge commitment. At least give up French fries. Anybody else? You got, okay. Okay, I need to be able to hear her across the room, guys. Shout out, Eddie. Don't sit more than 30 minutes. What else? Do what?
Eat more
Avocados?
Eat more vegetables.
Okay.
And drink 6%
Instead of,
regular,
what kind of milk are you currently drinking?
the 2%.
Ah, that's not a change. Boo! Okay, Zip, you gotta pick one more. Come on, come on. I'm switching from 2% to 2%.
Drinking after what?
Stop what?
Drinking coffee. after
Stop
what?
drinking coffee after you pick the time. After 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
8:30. That's it.
8:30, after 8:30. All right, good job. Jimmy, will you under me? Thank you. Is it a quarter till yet? Who else wants tickets? Yes? Okay, time's up. Okay. All right, guys, now we're moving into the middle section. If I could, I'm starting to lose my voice, so if I could ask you to not talk. Okay, not talk so I don't have to yell. Okay, for the next 4 weeks, I will eliminate the below chosen items from my diet. So 5 more tickets if you pick at least 2. Pick at least 2 and then raise your hand.
I eat bread. Bread, I gotta have it. Tortillas, I eat tortillas. You gotta have 3.
This is that.
You got 3?
Okay, I gotta have tortillas.
Okay, you don't have to, it's optional. This gentleman has his pick. Do you want to share? No pasta?
Sugar,
No sugar?
soda.
And no soda. All right. Perfect, thank you.
You can't eat anything with sugar, right?
Anything,
Everything has sugar.
anything with added sugar.
Added.
So like an apple has sugar, but it's natural sugar, right? Spaghetti sauce has sugar from the tomatoes, but so use a spaghetti sauce that doesn't have added sugar. So that's no cookies, unless they're made from our cookbook. Oh, the Facebook group. You guys, we've got an amazing Facebook group that has incredible recipes and other clients like you sharing. There are the most delicious desserts there. Chocolate fudge, chocolate chip cookies, carrot cake, cheesecake. Desserts can be amazing. If you do Facebook, what do we want them to do? If we do Facebook, text me. Do y'all have my number? Let me give you my number. Write my number down. I think it's not on there. Or is it on there already? It's not on there, right? 915-861-6758. 915-861-6758. Text me your Facebook name, and then I will put you in the group. Okay, it's a private group, so it's by invitation only. Who else?
You don't want Rafa.
Yeah, you do.
I what?
You don't want Rafa.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not being your friend. I won't be able to see your posts. You're just in the group. Who else has at least 2 things they're willing to adapt? Yes, sir.
No soda.
No soda.
And then I'm going to replace it with corn tortillas.
Corn tortillas instead of flour. Awesome. Okay. Who else? Let's just move down the line here. This gentleman.
Gluten and replace sugar and artificial.
Everything has gluten. Everything has gluten.
Not everything. Okay, good choices. No gluten and what else?
Replace sugar and artificial.
Replace sugar and artificial sweeteners. Okay. All right, in the middle, next down the road here.
So all that tibia and all of that is bad for you?
I'm not sure I understood the question. I'll come back to you. Yes, ma'am, in the middle.
The soda, I read the ingredients that list everything I buy. When I eat anything with added sugar.
So you're going to look on the ingredients list. Let me explain what she chose, guys. Not on the nutrition facts, but on the ingredients list, where it lists what actually is in it. If the word sugar is in the ingredients, then pick another version. There's almost always something else that doesn't have sugar in it, unless you're talking cookies. Okay, so cookies, you got to make your own. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Baylor.
I got try not to do bread like in the morning when I drink my coffee.
No bread?
No bread in the
Okay.
morning, no soda, and I'm already getting no tortilla or whatsoever.
No tortilla at all, not even just soybean. Okay.
And nothing that has that sugar.
And what?
No, nothing that has added
Nothing with added sugar. Some of you guys are just on fire. Awesome. Any questions? Anybody else? Any questions? On the end.
Pasta, rice, chip, soda,
With which one are you going to choose? Low carb or corn? Okay. Awesome. Will you pass these on down? All right. Is it? What time is it? All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Last chance. We're going to do the drawing. Anybody else going to make just two things? All right. Yeah.
Are you done using the laptop? Are we done with it?
We're done with slides.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. All right, while I rip up the tickets, anybody got questions? Okay, yeah, so she says, I don't use sugar in my tea, I use raw honey. What are some of the advantages of raw local? Local, it needs to be local honey. Anybody know?
It helps with allergies.
Helps with allergies, yes. So, you have allergies? Yes. Okay, so how much honey do you put in? Half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon? Yeah, that's like that. Yeah. Seriously. Is she in denial? Come on. Excellent. A half a teaspoon would be fine. Honey is very high glycemic, meaning it makes your blood sugar respond even more than sugar, but it's healthier for you than sugar. So as long as you just use a smidge, you're okay. Anybody else? Make me feel useful.